Hi, I'm Wendy from shinyhappyworld.com, and today I'm going to teach you one method for applique. Applique is when you take one piece of fabric and apply it to another piece of fabric. And what we're going to do today is a really easy method using fusible webbing or fusible glue. I'm going to take this J shape, I'm going to cut it out of this funky fabric, and I'm going to apply it to this pale pink fabric. And I'm going to use a product called fusible webbing. This has paper on one side, and the other side you can feel it. It has little bumps of glue, and those little bumps of glue will melt when you hit them with the iron. One of the great things about the paper-backed adhesive is that you can draw the image you want to do right on the paper without having to ever draw anything on your fabric. The tricky part, though, is that you need to draw the mirror image up there. So what I usually do is I draw my picture on white paper, and then I flip it over and put it in a mirror so you can see right through it. I'm sorry, not in a mirror, in a window. And then I lay this over top and trace it so that I'm tracing the back side of the image so I get the mirror image. So I have a nice backwards J here, and I am going to fuse that to the back side of the fabric that I want to make the patch out of. You're going to need to read the directions. They're a little bit different for every product, so make sure you read the directions for whatever paper-backed adhesive you use. This one needs to get hit with a dry iron for just a couple of seconds, and that is stuck down now. Then you cut out your shape. You always want to draw your shape on the paper, fuse it down, and then cut it out. You don't want to have to line up edges. If you fuse down a bigger piece than you actually need, then when you cut it out afterwards, you're always sure to have adhesive going all the way to the edge of the shape that you're applying. So I'm just doing kind of a rough cut here because y'all don't want to sit there watching me cut something out forever. So now I have this nice little J shape. And when I peel the paper off, I don't know if you can see this on the video, but the back of this is shiny now. That adhesive is stuck to the back of the piece of fabric that you have. And now I lay that where I want it to be on my fabric. And this needs to get ironed for a little bit longer. This product says it needs 8 to 10 seconds with a dry iron. And let's see if I lift it. No, that needs a little bit longer. You want to move your iron just a little bit. You want contact, and these little divots in the back of your iron won't give you contact, so you have to move it around so that those divots are not in the same place all the time. That'll do it. So now you have your shape on there. Depending on the strength of the adhesive that you've used, sometimes this is enough, especially if it's not going to be worn, if it's not clothing. Like if you're just doing a quilt or something like that, or a wall hanging, this will be great and you're done. If, however, you want it to be on something that's going to be washed, something that's going to be played with, you want to do a little bit of extra stitching. You can either do a little running stitch all around the edge that's going to help hold it down, or you can satin stitch or zigzag stitch around the edge, and that's what I'm going to show you next. Anytime that I'm doing satin stitching on my machine, I always back my fabric with a piece of tissue paper. It helps your stitches not pucker the fabric, and it just keeps everything nice and neat, and you can tear it away at the end. Now, I've set my machine to zigzag, which means that that needle is going to be going back and forth and back and forth. Right now, it's on this side, so I'm going to lower my presser foot and lower the needle so that that needle is going in just at that edge. What I want is the outside edge of my zigzag to be just on the outside edge of the shape that I'm stitching around the edge of. So I'm going to see how it's catching the fabric there. When I get to the edge, I'm going to do one more stitch there. I do one stitch kind of diagonally in there, and then I lower my needle, raise my presser foot, and turn it so I'm going straight again. And I'm not going to stitch all the way around this because that would get tedious. When you're doing an outside corner, you got to be a little bit fussy with it. Lower that into that same corner over and over again. Down, lower it into that corner, rotate it. That's how you can get a nice, neat inside corner there. Turn it one more time. Now start going down the straight edge. Oh, my thread broke. That's a good time to stop it. But you can see that the outside edge of my zigzag stitch was falling right on the outside edge of the fabric, and it was overlapping into the inside. This is a really, really sturdy way to hold an applique on. It's good for clothing, but you are going to get really, really noticeable zigzag stitches. So you're going to get a fat outline on it. Sometimes I like to outline it in black that way, and you get kind of a cartoony effect. This time I just wanted to have a bright contrast to show you so you could easily see it. That's it. That's the easiest way to applique, is using a paper-backed fusible adhesive. You can either fuse it on and leave it just as it is. That's great for wall hangings and things that aren't going to get a lot of wear and tear. Or you can reinforce it with a little extra stitching. I love to do hand stitching on it and do a running stitch all the way around the edge. Or if you really want to use the machine, you can use the Satin Stitch or Zigzag Stitch that I just showed you. Next week I'm going to show you how to do another applique technique that is a little bit harder, but it's invisible. It's the old-fashioned way to applique. I'm Wendi from ShinyHappyWorld.com. See you next time.